So the first thing I would like to do is just to maybe explain what a Chief Curiosity Officer does, because yeah, it's important for me to just maybe help you to understand. Maybe you can then help me to understand, because sometimes I'm still figuring it out. But basically, like Alex said, Alex, thank you so much. I work as a career coach, so I facilitate processes of self and career exploration, but with a passion for taking young people on expeditions in Africa. As an expedition leader, when you take those two things and you merge them, there's something that became very clear to me, and that's that curiosity is this golden thread that flows through my work. And that was just the easiest way to explain what I do, is to call myself a Chief Curiosity Officer. So if I quickly show you the one leg, the career coaching leg, is quite, well, this is what we do. We facilitate the processes of self and career exploration to anticipate the future of the world of work. And then if we go over to the expedition part, that is called Chronicles of Curiosity. And there you can see I said it's creating meaningful expeditions and experiences inspired by curiosity and the spirit of exploration. Now, this is quite an important thing, that spirit of exploration, because you'll soon find out that I can't help myself when it comes to the word exploration and curiosity, adventure. These are all words that really talk to me, but where did it start? And so let's take a look. Let me share some experiences I had with the younger generation. This was a photo taken in the central Kalahari with a trip with a couple of young explorers. The fascinating thing about this photo, I'll show you now, it's a beautiful cut line. This was taken in June, July, but just look at what that cut line looks like in December. It is the same cut line, you wouldn't believe it. It's so green. It's one of the most spectacular things to see the central Kalahari go from you know, this to that. It's just so inspiring to see that. This was a big group I took from high school, Stellenbosch. We started in Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. We flew in there, and then these two overlander trucks met us there. And then we went through Chobe in Botswana, the Caprivi, and this photo was taken in Mahangu Park. You can imagine a group like this entering a border post. You know, the logistics is sometimes quite difficult, but man, when you reach places like this, it just makes it all worthwhile. And then the next memory was somewhere on a floodplain in the Okavango Delta a couple of years ago, again with a bunch of young explorers. You'll notice no cell phones, waiting for the sun to set. That was a very special memory. Oh, and this was taken in the Okavango Delta as well when I did my guide training at the Africa Guide Academy. I got the 3 a.m. shift to keep watch. On the left, you can see everybody is sleeping over here. And then at 4 o'clock, when the next person took over, I just thought, you know, I'm not going to go to sleep now. The day is breaking. And it was one of the most special nights that I ever had. This is an experience that I also went through not long ago. I took a couple of people up the Matruisberg in the Western Cape, and we did some snow camping. That was my first time ever that I actually slept in the snow like this in the tents. Here we are. You can't believe it looks like Switzerland, doesn't it, Samantha? But actually, this is 2 hours from Cape Town. And that's how I woke up that next morning. But where did it all start? Now, as I share my life story with you in terms of exploration, try and notice some clues, like the Land Cruiser in the background. This is me and my mom. I grew up spending lots of time in nature. I still have that dazed look on my face 30 years later, wondering when is it time for snacks and coffee. The left was in the Drakensberg. I was 5, and on the right, I'm 35, also in the Matrursburg. Again, a Land Cruiser, and please don't mind my sense of fashion. I'm the bright orange. Yeah, orange sticking out there. My grandma in the seat probably had the best sense of fashion with her umbrella. Again, notice the Land Cruiser. If there's one thing that has always drawn my attention, it has to be a yacht. The moment I see a yacht, something just talks to me. I'm sometimes so embarrassed. I go to the Cape Royal Yacht Club and I stare at a yacht for hours. And I think people think I'm a little bit strange, but I cannot help it. And it's because it's important for me and it has this impact on me, I started to get curious about this. So here we go, Strauss. These are the photos. My friend from Natal. Because I was so curious about yachts, I also worked as a deckhand for a year in the Mediterranean. I grew up in the ocean with my best friend, who's actually on this talk. And later on, you can see this is just my happy place. On the top right, you can see me surf skiing with the dolphins. I mean, it was just something in me. Always just felt so inspired when I get to spend time in nature like this. And spending that year on the yachts has taught me many things as well about the ocean, and probably especially about discipline. So I want to share with you a story of somebody I met a couple of years ago. Sir Robert Knox Johnson was the first person in 1969 he became the first person to perform a single-handed non-stop circumnavigation of the globe. And I was very lucky to meet him. He started a clip around the world yacht race. But I want to show you one specific photo. Okay, this was after 312 days at sea, his first steps. But take a look at this photo. Now, what I want you to do, before we take a look, please take your thumb and put your thumb on his face. I don't want you to see his face. And now I want to take you through the picture. So now you've put your thumb on his face, and let's take a look around. We've got stinky socks hanging from the roof. You know, just look at the chaos in that cabin. We've got books. It doesn't really look like there's much space to move around. Look at his hands. He's probably drinking whiskey or tea. I'm not sure. Look at his jacket. Look at how filthy he is. But now remove your thumb from his face. Look at his eyes and look at his face. I get tears every time I see this photo and I look at him. And there's a vastness of energy and life within those eyes and in that smile every time that just catches my attention. And it made me think of a very famous quote. I'll read it with you. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Again, there is a clue here. Let's get curious. Sir Robin, in his eyes, has a longing for the endless immensity of the sea. So when I look at this picture, I can see that his environment isn't that important. But where he's going, well, that's another story. Okay. This for me is my longing for the endless immensity of Africa. You can see as well in this picture, absolute chaos. We've got toilet paper, 3 bottles, we've got cables, binoculars, this jacket that always fell on my head, we've got a blanket, some torches. But when I'm behind the wheel of this Land Cruiser with young explorers, something happens with me as well. And I long, if you see me, you can see in my eyes that, oh, I can't help it, but there's just an energy that flows through me. I can't help myself. I can talk about a Land Cruiser forever. I'm not going to do that now. But what I want to tell you is that this is just the vehicle, the vessel for something bigger. So let's get into that. I also met Mike Horn, a professional explorer. I was lucky enough to meet him just before he went to the South Pole. Now, Mike Horn has taught me many things. He's been like a mentor for me for 13 years. And he's had an extremely valuable impact on me as a young person, a young man also wanting to be an explorer. And the one thing he instilled in me is the realization that the future of the planet is in the hands of the youth. This is our most powerful source of energy. Mike Horn inspired me through this expedition called the Young Explorers Expedition. It's 12 expeditions that he led all over the world. And he made that yacht a vessel for kids from each continent. And they explored and they just invested in nature. And that made me think, Francois, what if you can try and do the same? Something that really inspired me, this was when Mike actually got to the South Pole, and I spoke to him on this absolute wonderful expedition yacht of his. And I asked him, Mike, you know, you want to walk across the South Pole. It's 5,200 kilometers. How do you train for this? He told me, Francois, because this has never been done before, the first 1,000 kilometers is the training. But I have done the preparation, and that is what counts. And when he said that, oh, I got a lump in my throat like I do now, because it's just so inspiring that we don't necessarily have to know what's going to happen around the next bend, but we can prepare ourselves. This was his route. You can see he started right on top of Antarctica, went to the South Pole, 5,200 kilometers, he ended right at the south again. So for me, guys, exploration matters because it prevents the extinction of experience. And why is this important? Let's have a little bit of fun. So another polar explorer, Ernest Shackleton, he invited in 1913, he invited people to join him on an expedition. Please note that this ad is actually not verified, but I'm going to use it anyway because the actual ad was much like this. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Oh my goodness. You would think, who would sign up for this? But you would be surprised. 5,000 people signed up the next day. 5,000 people signed up the next day. And I came across this article at the bottom. I'm going to read the last sentence. a friend wrote, soon afterwards, a curious friend noted in Shackleton's office 3 large drawers, labeled respectively mad, hopeless, and possible, in which the letters of the application had been roughly classified. He had to choose 50 people from 5,000 people. And you know, so explorers and curious people are often categorized as mad, hopeless, and possible. But let that be an invite and not something that puts us down, because what they did is they actually created history. And for me, that's just the most inspiring thing. So exploration is curiosity put into action. But why is curiosity so important? Well, it's the difference between the quality of the question and needing an answer. So why do I say that? Think about it. We live in a world that is based upon quick fix, instant gratification. You know, the society and the world around us is very good at giving us answers. What we should wear, what we should drive, and even what we should do with our lives. So this is why I like the idea of a coaching, a process-driven take. You know, I don't ask kids, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? It's an unfair question. What about if we ask them, what do you want to do next as you continue growing? Do you know that the average 4-year-old asks up until 400 questions a day? And between the ages of 2 and 5, kids ask 40,000 questions. So here's another clue. Why did we stop asking all these questions? You know, where did it all stop? It's also important to remember that when we look at the future of work, it's going to be the younger generation that is going to solve problems. And it's going to be different disciplines, different ways of work that's going to do it. So who's going to be the future trash engineers? Who's going to clean up the oceans? You know, who is going to be the custodians of the last true wild places left on Earth? It's you guys. And if we can understand the problems that we need to solve, we can understand the quality of the questions. And also, it will help you curate your curiosity, because curated curiosity plus reflection equals your story. It also helps us put the quest back into questions. If I hear words like quest, it makes me want to move. It makes me want to go. It's like an adventure. And this is what curiosity really helps with. But now I'm going to make you all a little uncomfortable, because I'm going to take you back to your very first crush, because I'm going to use that to try and explain to you, how do we get curious? I hope that most of you have been in love before. And I know that if you're 16 or 60, you know, when you're in love, you're in love. I don't think age matters that much in terms of being in love. So let me tell you about my first crush. I'll use the name Sarah. This is what happened to me when I was about 13, 14 years old, okay? So I went to the mall with my mom. I had a crush on Sarah. You know, we'd go to the mall, we'll sit in a coffee shop. I'm not even kidding, probably 70 meters away. I'll hear the word Sarah. And what will happen? I'll look in that direction. I just heard the name Sarah. I couldn't help it. I'll look in that direction. There's another clue. My ears picked up on it before I could cognitively make sense of it. I heard Sarah. And immediately I looked in that direction. Okay, I couldn't find her, so we got up and we walked a little. But I also knew that Sarah had a favorite yellow jacket. So we came around the next bend, and is that Sarah? No, it's not Sarah, it's just a mannequin wearing a yellow jacket. Okay, walked on a little bit further, next corner, is that, no, it's not Sarah, it's just a yellow MTN billboard. Okay. So what am I getting at here? we need to trust our senses. We need to trust the way we get curious about our body, about our eyes, about our ears. And we need to understand what can we do to trust our body again. Because I think our body, our senses, what we look at, reacts to potential before we can make sense of it in our head. And if you ask me now, I must be honest. If I sit in a coffee shop now and I hear the words Land Cruiser or yacht or Mike Horn or Ernest Hemingway or conservation, I would have a somatic reaction. Somatic meaning I would look in that direction. And then I would think, why did I just do that? Remember, we have to reflect on curiosity. Then I think, okay, do I want to build a Land Cruiser? No. Do I want to sell one? I don't want to. Do I want to design one? No. Do I want to take one and use it to take young explorers on epic expeditions in Africa? Of course, that's what I want to do. So use that curiosity inside your eyes, inside your ears. What do you see that draws your attention? What do you hear in a coffee shop? What are the words that would make your head turn in that direction? Somebody that really taught me a lot about picking up on curiosity and intuition is Tutso. Tutso and her family stay very close to the central Kalahari. I took this portrait photo of her and her family about 3 years ago. And that's the first time that I got introduced to the ancient art of tracking. Here you can see, I'll show you some of the photos. I was with a bunch of young explorers. We were hands-on. They showed us how to make fire. Obviously, we failed horribly, but it was so much fun just to spend time in nature. There's two things that I quickly want to talk to you about in terms of tracking and why the principles of tracking is so important for me. You'll see on the right, I said there's two ways of tracking, intuitive tracking and cognitive tracking. Now, I'm not at all a master tracker. I'm not close, but I'm curious. And I've learned something from my friends in the Kalahari that was just an absolutely wonderful experience. So I want to quickly explain to you what cognitive tracking is. That is if you see a track and you make sense of this track and that track and the next track. So it's to focus on the track that you are seeing. Okay. And you identify the creature. What was this? Where was it going? In which direction? But there's something magical happening when you see the Bushmen from the Kalahari track, because what they can do is they can track an animal and lose the track. And then they use intuitive tracking to find it hundreds of meters away again. And you know why that's important? They've got this catchphrase. They say, Francois, head up, head up. Don't get stuck on looking at only the track. Put your head up, put your head up. Look at your environment. Where is the shade? Where is the water? You know, what's happening holistically? What's the bigger view? And that was just something that really stuck with me. We get so stuck on one problem that we forget to take a closer look at the bigger picture. And when you realize that life is actually one big track. So we are entering the golden age of outdoor education. This is Kayla. I put her behind the wheel of a Land Cruiser because she needs to experience life. And this was somewhere in Namibia. What a wonderful experience to be able to immerse ourselves in nature like this. Here we are again in the floodplain. You see Marley in the foreground, my brother at the back. Kayla and Johnny sitting there, Johnny putting on some peaceful sleep, making sure the mosquitoes stay away. What a magical night to spend under the stars with no cell phones and just look at the fire and talk to each other and just immerse ourselves in nature. Take a look at the bottom right article. This is very, very, very alarming that children spend less time outdoors than prisoners, according to some studies. I cannot emphasize enough how necessary it is that we need nature to calibrate, that we need nature to catalyze curiosity and get to know ourselves. And the time has come, and I'm really, really excited about this. So quickly, I want to share with you what's my year looking like. And Alex mentioned a couple of things. So in terms of partnership with Lessons in Conservation, this is also a big invite to all of you to get involved. If you want, please, it would be such a privilege. So the idea here is to do a pilot expedition, because together with the African Guide Academy and FAGASA and Lessons in Conservation, we want to create a schools program that we are going to present at schools. And then as an experience, we want to then take them into Botswana and visit various camps and visit various remarkable people and extraordinary places and teach conservation and get those kids curious about what's going on around them. I'm very, very excited about this, and I'd love to invite anybody that wants to get involved in this to please contact us. And then I was also very, very, very fortunate to get a spot on the Fjällräven Polar Expedition for next year. So this is a 300-kilometer Arctic wilderness expedition with 100 highly skilled sled dogs. We'll be facing minus 25 degrees Celsius. I'll be looking like a little snowman like this. And I'm just so excited to be a part of this team, to go and experience something new. You know, a lot of times when I take these young explorers, I tell them, guys, what we need to do is to build a relationship with the unknown. And then we realize it's not so scary. Whether it's driving through the central Kalahari or the Okavango Delta, or deciding what we want to do with our careers. Where are we going? If you can build a relationship with the unknown, you can find that it's not that scary, and actually a remarkable opportunity to get to know yourself. So here in that cold, I am sure that I'm going to get to know myself, and I can't wait to tell you all about this when I get back. And then another wonderful opportunity, I'm just going to call it Camp Curiosity. Together with the African Guide Academy, we've got a satellite camp that we take people to, and we just immerse ourselves in nature. We're going to take the youth there. We're going to take private groups there. And we're just going to give ourselves a chance to really get curious. Take a deep breath in, you know, just get some oxygen back for our souls. So please get involved. You're all invited. I'm really, really excited to start to take young explorers to that camp as well. And I can't wait to maybe even show some of you what the stars could look like in the Okavango Delta. Let nature help you put the quest back in questions. Let nature teach you how to long for the best version of yourself. And use nature to get curious, because it's a little bit like falling in love, you know? And please, let's take care of nature. Thank you so much.
And we have Dr. Cheryl Ogilvy's question in the chat. So she says, so tell us, Francois, where did you study? You are so dynamic, and all I can say is, wow, you're going places. I am very curious.
That's a very good thing. So, well, I mean, with everything that is probably one of the most impactful processes that I went through. So I started with industrial psychology. Maybe let me backtrack a little bit because we've got a younger generation here. So I actually finished grade 11, which is the second last year of school in Durban. And then I moved and I did my matric year, my last year of school, in a new province. And then in my first year, when I started to study industrial psychology, I broke this I broke this bone with rugby. It's called the frontal sinus lobe. And I had to start my studies over. And by that time, I was so fed up. I just wanted to go and sail. So I ended up going sailing. From the industrial psychology, I ended up going sailing. And then later on, I did coaching courses. So I did a coaching course, a couple, but the last one was at UCT's business school called Integral Coaching. And integral coaching is all about how you invite people to build habitual practices, habits and practices that supports the life that you want. Essentially what it is it gets your heart, your mind, and your body working together to get you where you need to be.
I'm 28, so not that young, but I have realized how super important it is to communicate with other people about what you do and just kind of get to know people from different places to open up a lot of doors for you. So especially for the younger kids, what would you say would be a good way of going about introducing yourself to other people and telling them, you know, what you are excited about, how to approach new people, and just get your name out there and start exploring that way. Maybe get a lot of new opportunities in that way.
Absolutely, Tavani. That's such a good question because, guys, the one thing that I really need to put so much emphasis on is that it's the most terrible thing today that we need to sound as if we've got everything sorted out, that we know exactly where we're going with our lives. And that's such a problem that I need to address, that when somebody asks you, so what do you do, that you have to have this clear, beautifully spoken, precise answer. So Tavani, I think when it comes to talking to people, that's the best way to get to know yourself, but also to build confidence. Because now think about it, we get to know ourselves through experiences in the world. Yes, introspection is very good. Yes, we think about next steps, what we need to do. But when you talk to somebody, when you ask somebody to be your mentor, guys, this is very important. I hope all of you have mentors that can guide you. Then you start to realize, wow, you know what? It's not that scary to be able to talk about what I want to do, what I'm planning to do, my dreams, my aspirations, my hopes. And so this is a very, very important thing. I actually brought a lecturer from Stanford University to the University of Stellenbosch. And the one thing, he created a course that I'm co-facilitating around design thinking. Design thinking. So Tavani, the one thing that he said is try stuff, talk to people. That's so important. And you know what? It's so unfair, guys. This is now going to be weird, but I want to show you something. Take a look at this chair. Oh, it's transparent now. That helps a lot. But that chair was prototyped 5, 6, 7 times before you end up with something that's comfortable, sturdy, and that works and that looks nice. We need to prototype. We need to talk to different people and prototype our ideas. And that's why it's so unfair that we have to get it right the first time. Think of yourself as a chair.
Well, thanks for the talk. I think I've got a bad reputation of asking lots of questions, so I'll today I actually don't have a question as much as I just, so much of what you said resonated with me. And just sort of a couple of statements for me. You kind of need some freedom in order to be able to learn and build into yourself. And I think just from what you described, that experience of having an accident, and a lot of people have thought, oh dear, things have gone wrong, that gave you an opportunity to find a space. And I think very often, too often in life, and I don't know if this is going to make too much sense, but you kind of get stuck with responsibilities and things like that, which stop you doing things that you are passionate about. I mean, I'm 48 years old, 49 next week sort of story, and I'm still passionate. I'm still yearning, full of questions, and I'm not going to stop. But yeah, I think for young kids to get that same passion is so important, and yeah, never stop exploring. So I think yeah, just what you said resonated. Thank you.
Absolutely, Marty. Thank you so much for sharing. I can just agree that we should all be lifelong learners. We should all often ask ourselves, what will we do? What could we do if we knew we could not fail? And often young people are always told that they are so promising, but we have to understand that we need to make promises to ourselves also. You can only have the freedom to play piano when you've chained yourself to years of practice. So you need to make those promises to yourself and then live into the being promising.
Did you need like a lot of resources to get started in your journey of curiosity and exploration? Because I can imagine it might be an expensive, lifestyle. You need equipment, you need ticket money to travel, all this. Or did you get sponsorship? Like, how did you finance your journey?
So it's a very good question. So with me, I would go to a place that is really beautiful for me. And the first thing I would think is, man, I need to take people back here. And so what has happened is that I sort of then created the business model that at this stage, schools would sign up and the kids would pay to come with me on an expedition. But Samantha, the big thing about what I'm getting at is that I don't call it a trip. I don't call it a tour. I call it an expedition. So we can take a bus, we can take 3 cars, but when you take a Land Cruiser and you pay 1,000 or 2,000 Rand more, and you put a sticker on the side, and you get that age-old expeditional feel, you become an explorer. So for me, that's a very important thing, is that I think that's what people pay for as well. That's the way I talk about it. But the lucky guys, well, not lucky, but guys like Mike Horn, for instance, I've asked him this many times. So you see on the photo, Mercedes-Benz helped him to create that sailing yacht. And I think it was because of his eyes. He had Sir Robert Knox Johnson's eyes. And he could look into the guys at Mercedes-Benz and say, this is why we need to do this. So I often, I think, make people uncomfortable because I make them believe that if they sponsor me this Land Cruiser, it's going to be the best thing ever for these kids. But it's hard work. It's a lot of logistics. Things go wrong. Those kids are 13, 14 years old. It's the first time that they experience something like this. So there's a lot of things in the background that you need to be aware of. And that's why the whole time I'm thinking preparation, preparation, preparation. If that's done, you can have the freedom to go and explore. But so no, it's really hard work.
Dr. Malapa, I just want to thank you. It is such an amazing talk and it's so inspiring. My question to you is, I feel like a lot of people are hesitant to, or young people are hesitant to start exploring and just letting go and do what you do, because they don't know where to start and they don't know how to get there. And just in general, if you could like give a few tips on where would you start, or what would you start doing to get to the place where you are, what would that be?
So Corlia, first of all, Mr. Malherbe is very serious, very formal. You can say Francois.
Okay.
Corlia, do you know, the one thing I love about the younger generation is that they want to do good, but they also want to do well. So with a passionate heart, a cause-driven heart, addressing just causes, you know, a lot of times I just want to agree that it's difficult to get people excited about that, and it's difficult to find your own path in terms of your passion and your talents and your interests. I would just say, get people on your side, never lose your passion, never lose that Sir Robert Knox Johnson look in your eye. Corlia, your heart always talks to you in terms of stuff like this. And the one thing that really hurts your heart is if we don't do what we love, you know, if we don't lean into being the best version of ourselves that we can be. So practically, if we can hold on to that, it's not going to be easy, but get people on your side that's passionate with you, and keep on talking about it. It's as if when you verbalize it, stuff start to happen, you know, and be curious, look for the missing links, look for the blind spots and the dots that you can connect in terms of where your career or life path might take you. But getting people on your side is very important, and that's easy because I can see in your eyes that it's something that you are very passionate about. And the rest, well, there's a beautiful quote that says, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and try and love the questions themselves that are written like a book in a foreign tongue." You know, we need to not stress about finding these answers. We need to live the questions. When you live the questions, you live along some distant day into the answer. So my invitation would be, live each question, and don't let the stressing effect of wanting an answer numb you, because we're too young and energetic, Corlia. We've got too much passion for that.
Hi, Francois. Hello, everyone. I had to spend about a good 20 minutes just composing myself because I was just crying by the end of it, because I was thinking of everything that you were saying, and I was like, oh my goodness, it actually seems so far away from me, as in that dream is just too big. It's just too, like, how can I even get there? Where do I even start? It was just crazy. And because it's so beautiful to think about doing that and to explore, to just even see the stars clearly without any light interference or whatever. So I just wanted to ask you, like, what would you say to a young explorer who feels like that dream of exploration is just too far away? I'm gonna cry again. Nope.
Khomotso, the one thing that I've learned is that motivation comes and goes. You know, it's this unraveling path, ups and downs. Motivation comes and goes. But we can train ourselves to have discipline. We can train ourselves to be disciplined in the times that we're not motivated, which means that when we're down, we write it down. We acknowledge the fact that, man, this seems so far away. But then when we talk to somebody and it just sparks that passion again, have that motivated, you know, khomotso, advocate for the other side. Have the motivated, disciplined khomotso advocate, which means be the voice for the Khomotso that sometimes feels, man, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get there? But it's such a valuable question, and I wish we could meet for a coffee so that I can just tell you that, you know, it's going to be okay, and we've got people that's passionate about you and your dreams. And I want to just acknowledge the fact that Khomotso, in fact, do you realize that you've just now crossed the threshold of, you've just done the most difficult thing, and that's to talk about it, and that's to acknowledge it. So Khomotso, you're 90% there. You must just keep going.
Probably I will get a chance to see you and to talk to you because I'm with the LIC. So one day we'll have that then.
Fantastic. I can hear the stars in the Kalahari already.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your answer.
Francois, I think, you know, it's unanimous when I mentioned just like, that was super inspiring, buddy. That was really great. And it was such an honor and such a privilege to hear your words as well. So, and I don't want to sound like a third wheel here, but like, just like, you know, I think it was Marty who mentioned earlier about resonating, you know, it's like the beautiful, just the imagery of like a violin, you know, with the energy that just like flows in synchronization. It's really great. And I think what I want to ask you is for your own trips, because just to put this into perspective, we had plans to go as a family to Sri Lanka and then to Turkey. But because of the whole COVID and the airplanes and everything that shut down, we had to postpone those plans. Now, my eldest son is 5 and the youngest is 1.5. So we thought places like Sri Lanka, like, you know, going to the jungle and going to some surf and yoga camps, and then kind of like Turkey for the bit of the coastline as well. I mean, those are like quite like easy, kind of like family friendly activities and things that you could do. Now, your own explorations, do you take like families as well, or is it mostly aimed just like towards younger people? Or I suppose like from an activity level, if I were to, for instance, you know, next time we're in South Africa to join into Botswana, or like, you know, the Kalahari, is it something that, you know, that you could do with like a young family as well?
Yes, absolutely. So it depends obviously on the camp. So the camp that I coined as Camp Curiosity, unfortunately, it's a wilderness camp. So you know, the beautiful thing about that camp is that you'll wake up and you'll find leopard tracks around your tent. But unfortunately, that makes it a little bit risky for young kids. But Strauss, when you come, we take a Land Cruiser and we go to the places that is safe. You know, people have explored places with kids. If we see it now in photos, we'll think, were they crazy? But in fact, it's an opportunity for a wonderful experience. So we just curate that experience. Absolutely. Yeah, there's many options that we can look into.
Great, thanks, man. Yeah, we're just passionate to cultivate this kind of like lifestyle as well and get into them from a young age.
Exactly.